Hello, everyone. I'm the okayest bassist, and this is my Glenn Hughes limited edition orange Crush 50 bass amp. I've had it for a while now, and I've gone through the settings. I'm going to put a picture of where I have mine set. What I wanted to do was kind of not so much a review as kind of a thoughts and comparison, as I have very eclectic tastes on amps. So if you're someone who's as weird as I am, you might have some points of comparison. So I'll preface by saying anyone who's watched stuff of mine knows I am not an amp person. I'm not a, oh hey, I've got this SVT with a RK cab and I'm running an Ampeg. I don't know. I don't do any of that. I've played a few different kinds of amps. I thought they sounded cool, but for me personally, I don't busk. I don't gig. So the most I do is play at church. And when I do, everything goes through an Aguilar. I think it's a tone hammer and it's just a pedal. So there's really nothing in it for me on building up a whole bunch of gear. Up until I got this, the only bass amps I have used were a Positive Grid Spark 40. I had two of those. First one crapped out, so I had to replace it. I liked it. It sounded good. My first bass amp was actually an Orange Crush 35 watt, the small one with the 8-inch speaker. I thought it sounded better than the Positive Grid, but the Positive Grid was smaller, easier to move, and was able to be run off of a laptop battery pack. So that was better for me because I had limited space. Now that I have the studio, I have more room, so the space doesn't make as much of a problem. That's why I was willing to try out a larger amp. But I went from the Orange to the Positive Grid Spark 40. I tried a Spark Mini. It didn't work for me for bass. I've had a Trace Elliott Elf, the 1x8 small combo amp. It was loud and it had plenty of power. I didn't hear anything to me in its tone beyond how loud it could be that beat it out over the Positive Grid, so I got rid of it. I now have a Positive Grid Spark 2, which is a 50 watt. I run it straight DI. I don't use an amp sim. I don't use any of the stuff. Everything's set to noon. I don't use any of the effects for it. It's literally just as close to a DI speaker out as I can get. And then I decided to try this because I thought, well, it's a 50, that's a 50, but the Spark 2 has the custom speaker setup, whereas this is a 1x10. And I hear other people talk about, oh, well, a 1x8 or a 2x10 or a 4x12, whatever, give you different sounds. So I thought, you know what? I'll give it a try. I liked the first Orange. I thought I loved the sound it did. I'll go ahead, I'll get another amp, same wattage, and see what I think. If I don't like it, I'll just send it back. As you can see, I've not sent it back. I played it for one day and tossed the boxes. Like, they were gone. When it comes to the two, obviously wattage isn't the whole story. Size of your speakers, how much volume and decibels the speakers themselves can push, how much air they move, are completely different things to your wattage. Just because you have something that is 20 watts doesn't mean that it's better or worse than something that's 50 watt. The Spark 2 is 50 watt. It has a battery that is inside it. You can buy a battery and slot it in. I can unplug it, have my wireless system. I can go out, sit on my porch, and play music if I want to. It acts as a Bluetooth speaker, and it's amazing for that. Great quality audio. It has a looper. It has all the effects that I could want if I ever wanted, but I don't. So it is a perfect one and done amp for me. If I was only going to have one amp, it's the one I would pick hands down because, again, I can just unplug the power supply and I could take it on a trip, on a vacation, whatever. I can put it in my truck and go. I don't have to worry about bringing a power cord because it has hours of time to run on the battery. However, for sitting here playing, especially playing in the room, not putting in monitors or putting on headphones, this thing is way better. I love the tone of this. I don't think, from anything I can find, I don't think there's anything special about the Glenn Hughes edition except for the wrap. The smoke purple is the only, and then there's a little silver plaque on the top that says Glenn Hughes limited edition. I don't think there's anything different as far as the speaker. I don't think they use a different one. I don't think the controls are any different. I don't think it's tweaked in any way. I think it's the same as a normal Crush 50 bass amp. It's just purple. And that's great because, again, the other one that I had, I think, was a 25 watt, and it was great too. It was an 8-inch speaker. This is, I believe, a 10. It's fine. It's wonderful. If I was going to do a score for amps, I don't know how I would do that because they don't have playability. You plug them in and you do sounds. The controls are easy. I believe all the parts are fine. The practicality of it, it's an amp. Like, it's not a gigantic, like, make a wall of amps behind you kind of thing. It's a great amp for practice. I think it would be loud enough if you wanted to busk. I mean, I keep this thing at like if you're looking at it like a clock, I keep it at 9 o'clock, which is a third or a quarter of the way up. And it's plenty loud. I mean, if I wanted to turn it slightly more just to make it thump, that's fine. Like, I play it with the Spark doing Bluetooth audio, and I'll play along to songs with this behind me. It sounds great. Purchasability, this purple one, yeah, I mean, it's a limited edition, but maybe it's going to be available forever. I don't know. But either way, you can get the regular one that's either black or orange colored. You can get those all the time. So I don't know how I would rate it. I mean, it sounds good to me with the settings I put, which is everything at noon except for I think it's gain or drive. I don't know. It's one of the big knobs. It's the one that makes it sound like buzzy. I don't like that. I just want a clean tone, so I leave everything in the middle, and it's great. So I can't give it my typical out of 20 score. But again, if I'm comparing it to the Spark practicality, the Spark would win. It's portable. It's still loud. I could turn the Spark all the way up. I could put on amp sims, add gain, do all that, and make it just as loud. Obviously, this one is made for bass specifically, so it's going to handle those low frequencies better than what the Spark can. But again, if it was one amp and that's all I'm allowed, I'm going to pick my Spark. It can be versatile if I ever needed effects, and it can have a battery. And it's not near as heavy either. This is a hefty little dude. But on quality of audio, I way prefer the sound of the orange. My wife hates this amp because it's purple in color and says orange on the front, and she doesn't like that. But she, who isn't musical at all, even said, "Oh, that one sounds way better. I hoped it would sound worse, so I could tell you it sounds worse or the same, get rid of it." And even she's like, "Oh no, yeah, I can hear that that's better." So personal thoughts on it. I'm going to have it and the Spark. The Spark works great, again, for portability. But if I'm playing here, or if we do another bass house and it's somewhere that it's feasible for me to drive there instead of flying, I may bring this just so I know there's an amp there that I like. Once it's loaded in a vehicle, it's not a big deal. But again, I might bring both. I don't know. But the Spark is super portable. It's Bluetooth built in. It's got the app. You can go in and do stuff. It's got the looper. I mean, it's way more versatile, but this one sounds better. So take that for what you will. As always, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.